Hello there. Welcome to Ask Sue London. This is the show that helps people and pets cope, heal, and move forward. I'm your host, Sue London. Now, I'm really excited you're here today because we've got an amazing story. I have messages to share with you and life lessons and lots of news. So let's get started. What happens if you're new to joining me on the show is basically every week I share messages from your pets, from your loved ones, from your angels, and I have an inspirational story or life lesson to share with you. And you have the opportunity in advance of each show to send me a picture of your pet or your loved one and ask me what you want to know, share their name, and I will give you a message from them. So in the description below, you'll see those details, how to connect, and I love sharing your messages. Now, also, I want to share with you tonight that I have got some new things coming out, and I want you to mark your calendar because the first thing that's happening, we're in December now. It's crazy, right? Almost finishing 2023. So what's coming up, you want to mark your calendars. It's for Tuesday, January the 2nd. I'm going to be doing a talk, and this is called From Adversity to Empowerment. And this is me sharing hope and inspiration if you have health challenges and how nutrition can help to change the outcome of your well-being. And I'm going to be sharing some personal stories in that. It's a free call. It's about 45 minutes long, and it's happening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see that on my website. Also, another date to mark in your calendar is Tuesday, January the 16th. And on that date, I'm going to be sharing the healing power of pets, another talk, free talk. And on that one, I'm going to be sharing stories of pet therapy that I have had personally done with me, going into nursing homes, hospitals, as well as showing you and sharing tips if you want to get into doing pet therapy and you can ask your questions. These are live events. So mark your calendar for that. And also what I've got happening this month that you're able to sign up for is that I'm doing a program for 6 months. You can join me and you get every day for 6 months a healing from me. And then we meet twice a month. And the name of the program is Drop Your Baggage and Create Joy. So it's kind of a coaching program. We work with your angels, your pets, and your loved ones on the other side. So check out my website, asksuelondon.ca, for those details. And I'm excited to help you in both those ways and different ways to help you to create the life that you desire. Now, I want to start off right away with giving you, actually, we've got 2 angel messages this week. Now, the first message is, let me just see here what we got here. The first message is that God and his angels want you to know that right now in your life, you are exactly in the right place at the right time, and you're going to meet the right people. So if you find that you're running late, there's a reason for that. Okay. It could be that you're being saved from being in a car accident. It could be that you're supposed to hold a door for someone who somebody else is not, and they're really in need of help from you. Simple as that. It could be that you need to share a hug with somebody. Okay. We don't sometimes know when we're put somewhere. Sometimes people focus on, oh, I'm late, or oh, what's going on? It happens to me all the time. But this is not the case. You are put in that place where you are right now for a reason. So go with that, accept that, and just get yourself in a present moment and be aware what if feelings you have, if you need to go somewhere or if you need to talk to somebody or pick up the phone. Okay, that's really important to do. So that's the first message. Now, the next message, this is from your angels, and they want you to let go of expectations of how your dreams are going to come true. So that you have to trust that heaven has a perfect plan for you. Okay? So a lot of times people say, I'm going to have it happen this way. But that's not how it's supposed to be for your journey. You're supposed to be maybe going much bigger, or you're supposed to go down a different path. So again, this is about, trusting God, trusting his angels, and listening to the direction that you get. Okay, those are two really important messages for you. This time of year, sometimes you can get caught up in shopping and craziness and traffic and all kinds of meeting family that maybe you don't want to meet. Positive and negative stuff can happen this time of year, so keep yourself grounded. Listen on my website now, on the homepage on asksuelondon.ca. You'll see meditations, and I've just uploaded recently a meditation about being in the present moment. So you can play that, and when you play that, that will help to ground you. But you also may find that you may receive messages from that. So, go to that. Again, it's free. It's there for you for this purpose. Okay, so enjoy that. Again, that's found at asksuelondon.ca, and there's a button on the homepage. It's a circle that says meditations. Click on that, and you'll see it on there. Now, our story, life lesson today, is a really touching one. And the name of the episode is Being in the Right Place. If you're new to my show, you may not know this about me, but I've had 2 near-death experiences. And the second near-death experience I had was after my intestine burst. I was given 30 minutes to live, but before I knew it, I was going to the white light. Now, what happened when I was in this place of this joy and this love and this support and this feeling of just such wonderful energy and some positivity and love, like unlike anything I have ever experienced, I wanted to stay. But my grandfather and Jesus stopped me. They knew what I was thinking, and they said, Susie, it's not your time. You have to go back because you have many millions of pets and people. You need to help them cope, heal, and move forward. So what happened was, trusting my grandfather, of course, who doesn't trust Jesus? So, I trusted the two of them, and I came back. And what happened, I remember coming back and laying in the hospital bed, and I remember thinking, what just happened to me? Like, how do you talk to people about what you've just experienced? If you've never experienced having a near-death experience, it's hard to talk with somebody and explain that feeling. It's just you can't compare it to anything. So I spent a lot of time, my intestine, I just lost 3 feet of intestine. I was in the hospital for many weeks. And so during that time, I was doing a lot of reflecting, and I was doing a lot of praying that was new for me, and talking to God and, thanking him for my life. But like, why? Like, you say I'm going to help. How am I going to do this? Because I'm a woman that has Crohn's disease. I'm in and out of hospitals. I have 2 small children. A husband's never around. Why? What's the story for my reason? What's the whole purpose? So what happened, I was given the message that I would be guided to what I had to do, where I had to go, and that I would know when I was there, what I was supposed to do, because I would be guided with the words to say, the actions to take. So I trusted because I thought if I had this experience with my grandfather and Jesus, I learned that one thing is that when you trust and you have faith, and I knew that there is such more to our journey than just craziness running around and getting stressed and all upset and stuff like that. But it's a much bigger purpose, that we're here to learn, we're here to support others, we're here to share love and joy and help our fellow man. It's not about who can we fight next, or being mean to people. That's not what our world is supposed to be like. So having the faith and hearing this message, I thought, okay, so I'm supposed to come back and do something. So fast forward, after I come home from the hospital, I, discovered that I call my practice husband, had a girlfriend, showed him the door, became empowered, and I started working on myself for 5 years. And in that time, I learned how strong I was. I learned things about myself that I'd never been aware of in my life. I worked on myself. I changed my vibration, became higher, and I just got to this place where it was so unlike I had ever had. And while I was working on myself, I met Mr. Right. And you would have heard the show from last week. And if not, you can go and hear that I met my future husband while working on myself when I went to Toastmasters to get over my fear of speaking in public. So we got together, and just last week we celebrated our 20th anniversary of being married. And he's an amazing guy. I'm very proud to tell you that and share him with you in our stories. So his name is Ross, and he's God bless this man is all I can say, because it's not everybody that will accept that their spouse can talk to the other side, or that they will say you need to do this, that mom's telling me to tell you this, or this kind of thing. So this man is very aware of my abilities and very supportive. And so he says what happens to me is I get a look when there's something that I'm getting a message about that's important. So now here's the story, okay? So I'm talking about being in the right place at the right time. Now, Ross and I, this particular day, we had come back a few days earlier from our honeymoon. We had just spent 3 amazing weeks in Hawaii. We were in Kauai, Oahu, and Maui. And so that to us is the cream of the crop of trips, because we love the warmth, we love the energy of Hawaii, we love the people, the food, just the whole atmosphere, very spiritual. Loved it. We love picnics, we love it being around animals and adventures. So we get this phone call, and we had just been reflecting on our trip. Then the phone call came. And it was somebody calling, asking Ross that they'd like to offer us a free trip to Las Vegas. Now, right away, my first thought was, that's not me at all. I'm a Hawaii person where I like the atmosphere of spirituality and that kindness, the support, and just that whole energy of the people and that. So going to Las Vegas is definitely not me at all. So what happened? I said to Ross, I don't want to go on that trip. But then I got the look. Ross told me later. And I said, wait a minute, we're supposed to go on this trip. And so he's like, okay, are we going or are we not going? What do I tell these people? They're offering us a free trip to Las Vegas. So I said, no, we need to go. And so he said, yeah, my wife and I would love to come on the trip. And so then the next thing that happened was I got another look, and I said, oh, by the way, we're supposed to take our daughter. And I thought, this is kind of weird. Like, why am I, saying we're going to take our daughter to Las Vegas? Because it's not ideal for like a family atmosphere. Even though they were telling us on the phone it's not, in my eyes anyways. But we were trusting, and this was one of those times where I was getting the message and the guidance, and I was to trust what was supposed to happen, just like what I had gotten laying in that hospital bed. So I said to Ross, yep, we'll go. I agree. This is great. But we're supposed to take our 11-year-old daughter. And so we started out on our venture. Now, here's what unfolded. We went on the trip, and what happens to us is that, and our children are aware of this, that anytime we are given a trip, there's always a higher purpose to it. We're always being put in the right place at the right time to meet the right people, whether that's helping them or they're giving a message for us. Normally, it's us being there to help them. And on this particular case, this week in Las Vegas, we were there to help somebody. But it was about 3 days. We're still there. And our daughter's like, okay, what's the reason we're here, Mom? Like, why are we here? And I said, it's not showing itself yet. So we walked around, and, we had to be careful where we went, because there's not many places that we could take our daughter, because the pool, everybody was drinking and drunk, and, couldn't go. That wasn't the greatest place. You can't have a child in a casino standing. You have to just walk through with them. So we were kind of limited. So we thought this one particular day, this is now day 4, that we thought we'd go out for a walk on the Strip. And we saw the Treasure Island Casino. We thought, okay, they have a show. We'll watch the show. So while we were there, this man came up to us and he said that he would like to give us tickets for a show and a dinner. It was a gift for our family. So right away, Ross said, I wonder if this is it. This is maybe the reason. So we gratefully accepted the tickets and we thought that we would, go that night and enjoy the dinner and the show. So while we were standing in line, we were standing there, waiting to get seated. And all of a sudden I felt somebody standing behind me looking at me. You can feel like someone's looking at you. Well, I turned to Ross and I said, I think the reason why we're here on this trip, he or she is the reason is right behind me. So quickly Ross turned and he saw this older man. He was about 74 years old and his name was John. And John quickly caught eye with Ross, and he became quickly embarrassed with the fact he was looking at me. At that point, I was sort of looking on my side, and he was staring at my eyes. And he apologized to Ross, and he said, I'm really sorry, but I can't. I was staring at your wife, that she's got such incredibly beautiful eyes. And I have to say to you, you are one very, very lucky man. So as they were talking and kind of small talk, I kind of leaned into Ross and I said, he's the reason why we're here. I just kept hearing that. I said, you have to ask him to join us for dinner. It's really important. Again, this wonderful man of mine, so trusting of, the messages I get, he said, you look like you're alone. How would you like to join my wife and I and our daughter for dinner? We'd love to meet you. You look like you're alone and we'd love the company. We like meeting new people. So at first he was like, I don't want to, interfere with your family time. And he was kind of making excuses, kind of like embarrassed. He wanted company, but he didn't, want, he thought he was kind of pushing his way, kind of like he was just like an awkward moment for him. So then I said, we'd really love for you to join us. So then he did end up joining us. So we sat down to eat and we were sitting there. I kept getting all these messages from a woman. And I'm thinking, okay, there's someone with him that this is I'm supposed to share these messages. So we ate dinner and, there was small talk about where he was from and, where we were from and that. And so then all of a sudden I said to him, if you had one wish only, what would that be? And he said, with much thought, looking, and then his eyes welling up with tears, is that if he had only one wish, he said, I would love to make my 11-year-old granddaughter a Sunday. But I'm too frail now to go to the opposite end of the country, and that's where she lives on the East Coast. So right away, our daughter picked up that she was the same age, and she said to him, how about you make me that Sunday? I'd really like it. And we watched her take his hand, and they went to the Sunday machine, and this man had tears in his eyes, and they were laughing. And honestly, we knew we had given this man the greatest gift, or what I thought was the greatest gift. So they came back and they were, it was like he was a new man. He was happy. He was energized again. They were laughing and, talking about the chocolate, and we were teasing him, don't give her too much sugar. Like, you know what this is going to do and stuff like that. We were having a wonderful time with him. Then we had a bit of a quiet time and I heard the voice say to me again, ask him, why, what's he doing here? What does he do? And kind of, lead him up to sharing something. So anyways, we were talking about ourselves and that, and he said he had to thank us because on that particular weekend, he was there for a reason. And that reason was his wife of 45 years had died in his arms just before he came, like about a month before. And she said, you have to promise me that you go back to our same spot where we spent every anniversary together. And that was at this particular casino in the same room every year. So here he is in Las Vegas all by himself. He's in this same hotel room that he shared with the love of his life. And it was basically killing him in the heartbreak that he was experiencing of loneliness and what they shared. And he's in this town where it's not basically a place of like that people would stop on the street and have a conversation with a stranger. It was a place that people were focused on doing their own thing. But we picked up that he was in need and we had to help him. And so when we were talking and I was giving him messages from his wife and explaining that, I was guided to say about, what happened when I had my near-death experience. And that brought some peace to him to know that she was there, that she was the reason why we took the trip, to share with him he's not alone. And that she wanted to acknowledge that she knew how hard it was for him to be on that trip. Is that just not incredible or what? That, a simple phone call came to us offering us this trip. And it could have been so different for that man if we had not have accepted that offer and become aware how important it was for us to go on that trip. So after we finished our call, after our conversation and that, what ended up happening was, we said our goodbyes and that, and it was quite late. We actually spent a lot of time there, but it was what we were supposed to do. We knew it was the right thing, and we were very happy to be there for that man. Then it was time to go, and then we stood up, and I gave him a hug, and he started to cry. And he said that it had been so long since anybody had given him a hug. And he forgot what it felt like. And he said he was just so grateful for someone to give him a hug. Our daughter then, following mom's footsteps, gave him a hug as well. And then Ross, stepped in and he says, my wife taught me well. And he gave him a hug as well. This man, it was like getting the jackpot. That was what was important to him. He made the Sunday with his 11-year-old fill-in granddaughter, and he was given hugs by 3 people that really genuinely cared about him. And that was the whole purpose of our trip going to Las Vegas. So when you have things come up to you and offers and you think, oh, I don't have time or I'm too busy, take a minute, take a deep breath, get yourself in this place of being grounded, forget the chaos going on, and then ask yourself, is this right for me to do? And then if you say, what else is possible? Then you may come up and see that I need to go on this, or I have to do this. I don't know why, but I'm going to trust that God is leading me in the right way. So I want to encourage you to do this on a regular basis. I went one day and I heard go buy milk. And I thought, I don't need milk. But I got in the car and I started to drive to the grocery store and I heard, nope, not that. You're going to go to this other place. I thought, okay. So I went there and I thought, what am I doing here? And then I heard the reasons in the parking lot. And I thought, okay, I'm not buying milk. And so then I saw this woman. She was an older woman and she was struggling to get her groceries in the buggy and she was having a hard time. So what I saw, she was glowing to me. And this is how I get signs as well. So I went over to her and then I helped just put her groceries in her car. That's all I did. And I talked to her and she was talking and she was lonely as well. And that she just thought it was so nice that somebody would talk to her because she didn't have anyone to talk to because she didn't know anyone in the area. And we ended up by me giving her a hug as well. And that made her day as well. So we are living in a world where there's so many people need love. There's so many people that are not being hugged or told have a wonderful day, or we wish you well, or I love you. These are things that are missing in our world that we need to do more of. So I hope that something that I have said in this story tonight, today, whenever you're listening to this, if it's, later in the week or another month away, something in this story I hope will help to encourage you when you have a thought, when you have a feeling, if you feel like you need to call somebody, pick up the phone and call them. You never know why you're doing it. And if, even just say, hey, I just felt like I wanted to call you. How are you? And that point, you may learn why you were calling them. And like me, often I'm here, go for a walk right now. And I trust it and I go. And every single time for the last 30 years, I have been guided to help somebody in need. So now I'm going to pass the baton and say, okay, your turn now. So go out there, listen, go to my website, asksuelondon.ca, go to the area where it says meditations on the homepage, listen to that meditation about being in the present, being present. And when you're listening to that, it will bring you down like in a grounded place, and start your day with listening to what happens or where you need to go or who you need to phone. And you may even hear now that you're thinking about going to go on a road trip, like, holidays and busy traffic and that, and you might think, I'm going to go this time. But you might hear you need to change it and go at this time. And that, again, is another way that God, his angels, your loved ones, and your pets are protecting you from being in accidents, or preventing, if you live, in where we live, in the wonderful cold winter Canadian weather, that we get a lot of snowstorms. So you might be being prevented from being in a snowstorm or being, stuck somewhere or whatever. So trust what comes to you. Big lesson here. I cannot emphasize this enough. And when you do this, your life will truly become a huge adventure. Sound good? Okay, so that is the story for today. Now, when you go in the description below, I want to encourage you to follow the steps and send your picture in of a pet or a loved one that you want to have a message from. I'm more than happy to do that for you. And if you're tuning in and you've missed the first part of the show for some reason, then I want to remind you that starting this month, actually, you can sign up for my course. It's a program, and it's called Drop Your Baggage and Create Joy. And in that, I will be taking you through 6 months of my coaching with messages from your angels, your loved ones, your pets, as well as every day for 6 months, you're going to be receiving healing energy from me. So this is crazy. I've never done it this extent. So you're guaranteed to have change in your life, because when people work with me within one session, they have positive stuff happen for them. And in this course, I'm going to be giving it the healing every day for 6 months. So crazy good stuff is going to happen. I can guarantee that. So you can see all the information about that. And a lot of people have been asking when they can, hear when's my next talk happening in that. And they are getting booked. And the first one is on Tuesday, January the 2nd. And that talk is From Adversity to Empowerment. And I will be talking a lot about my personal journey, where I, at one point, had Crohn's disease, and the things that I did that I went on to actually heal that disease. So anything is possible, and I did go on to heal that disease. You will hear otherwise from the medical telling you it is incurable. I have cured it. I have met many people say to me, many doctors say, I don't believe it, I want to do tests. I have no sign of disease in me. And the doctor that I worked with, the gastroenterologist, said if I were to go back to my old lifetime of being married in a stressful marriage, that I have 1% chance of ever getting sick again. So in that talk, I'm going to be telling you some little tips around health issues and what you can do about emotional healing. And I'm also going to be sharing, there was a time in my life that years later, as a child, I had a surgery, and years later, We discovered it had gone wrong, and I was unable to walk for 2 years. I was on crutches and in a wheelchair. And they were actually talking about amputating my foot at one point. And so in that talk, I'm going to be telling you about the adventure I went on about healing through food and other different everyday things you can change that don't cost you a cent. So that's what that talk is about. So that again is happening on Tuesday, January 2nd, and that's 2024. Crazy, crazy. But you can see those details on my website homepage, okay? And then the next talk that is booked is on Tuesday, January 16th, and that is about the healing power of pets. If you love your pet, if your pet is an amazing healer, you know your pet, like he's not a barker or going to attack somebody, then you've got yourself a pet therapy dog or a cat or a horse or a pig, a bird, a rabbit, whatever. There's all kinds of different animals do pet therapy. I am going to be talking about how pet therapy works. I'm going to be telling you experience firsthand what happens because I've had pet therapy done for me personally when I had Crohn's disease and struggled. I also took my pets in that were certified pet therapy dogs, and the program to tell you more about what you have to do in order to have your pet be certified, as well as I'm going to be telling you stories about going in nursing homes and doing pet therapy. So that's going to be an amazing show. And both of these talks are going to be live, and you're going to be able to ask me questions during that. So that's the Ask Sue London Live series, and I'm hoping to do them twice a month. So that's coming. So lots of good stuff. Now, I think I covered everything. I'm just kind of looking again. So yeah, so I want to remind you to make sure that you sign up for my YouTube shorts, the video shorts, because what happens with those is that I get a message on what I am supposed to say that goes out that day. They go out every Monday and every Friday, and I am guided with the message that I am supposed to share with you. So I'm having so many people tell me that these messages are directed to them. They're sure that I'm sending it specifically to them, but I just get the message of what I'm supposed to say, and it's the angels are sending it to the right people who need them. So make sure you subscribe for that because it's really making a difference for a lot of people, and I want to help you along your journey as well. Or maybe you have a friend that might be going through something. Share them, and then together we can help other people together. Okay, that's it. Again, make sure that on the description line, if you want me to give a message for your pet or for your loved one, just follow those details, and then I will share that on a future show. So that is it. I'm Sue London, and I want to wish you much love and many blessings.